Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got an exciting couple of guests here. We got Kurtisha and Conner.
Hello.
Kurtisha and Conner are interested in real estate investing. They actually own one house now. They're getting started looking for another one, but some of the steps that they've gone through so far, first, with their existing houses they currently have, is to refinance it or do a cash out refi or do a home equity line of credit while they're living in it. So you can get that long-term 30-year fix, super low interest rate, low down payment. And so you did that already, right?
Correct.
And which one of those did you do?
We did the cash out refi, 30-year conventional.
Okay. And what kind of rate did you get?
So we got a 2.99. It was a little bit higher. We could have gotten down lower to like 2.8, 2.75, but it was a little bit higher because of the cash out refi.
Okay. All right. That's a great rate. What about fees? 1% origination is kind of like the normal. Did you get above that or below that?
Yeah, so we shopped around a lot and we ended up going with in just kind of an online lender. It was called HELOC. And they were just one I found. So there were no origination fees, no lender fees. Great deals or super low closing costs.
Did you use bankrate.com to find them?
I did. So I used Bankrate. That was one of the ones I started with, and of course NerdWallet. Then of course going on to different websites, and I ended up finding these guys through Credit Karma of all places. So just randomly kind of stumbled upon them and was able to shop around to a bunch of different places.
Okay, so for those of you who are new at this, what's a cash out refi, right? So you've got a little bit. Everybody's got equity in their house, even though you've only owned it for like how long, for example?
About a year and a half.
A year and a half. Now you've got this equity, so it's worth more than what their loan is. And originally, what you probably only put down 5% or less.
Correct.
Okay, but still, do you mind us asking how much you pulled out of the refi?
Yeah, so it was about 20 grand.
Okay, so not only did you get money out so that you can use it as a down payment or fix up for your next house you're going to purchase as an investment house, but you also lowered your payment. Tell us how much.
Yeah, so it ended up lowering it about $250 a month.
Amazing. And again, this is 30-year fix, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what these guys are going to do is this is like the next level. They're going to continue to, because they're young and they can do this, right? No kids, that sort of thing. Yeah, they're going to live in it because they're going to buy another one and live in it and rent this out and kind of repeat that. And because they're not married right now, they can actually, you can get 10 of those. They're going to be able to get 20 between them. And so what that will do for them is the 30-year fix, super low down payment. So step 2 for them to buy another place is to get pre-qualified for a loan. And Kurtisha, you did this.
Yes, I did that this week.
Okay. Did they tell you your terms on there yet? Like interest rates, down payment, some of those terms?
Yes, they gave a maybe interest rate. This is the way I understand it.
Okay.
I'll let Connor fill in the blanks in a second.
Yeah,
They gave
sure.
me like an initial interest rate, and then they said like in that letter and in the email that as we keep watching it and as it gets closer, they'll be able to like nail one down.
Yeah, and let you lock on it and you'll have some
Yes,
downtime.
exactly.
They're kind of squeamish because they don't want to commit to something.
Yeah.
But you can, you have to say, assuming I get, continue to have a great credit score, what are the best rates? You can kind of say some words like that. It is hard to get a rate out of them, but you got to know that to shop. And frankly, I think some of the bankers like to play that game so that they just stick with you and you don't shop, right? So be on the lookout and do ask them and press them for that.
Yeah.
But what kind of rate are you looking at?
It's about 2.8 right now. As of this,
Okay,
yeah.
and what about fees or origination? What are those looking like?
Connor.
No origination fee, no lender's fees. So super low closing costs.
So we went with the FILO mortgage again because he recommended that. We looked at the other competitive interest rates and other companies as well and just ended up with a great experience with their customer service and everything, so I like that.
What spell it for me, is it?
FILO.
Yeah.
.com.
Correct.
Cool. Okay. And obviously, they do loans in Tennessee. Are they national, or are they just in some states? Or
They're all over the place. I don't think they're in
Excellent.
one state, but they're in most.
okay. All right. So no origination or no fees, basically. That's fantastic. Usually, the standard is about 1%. On my last one that I did, I got them down to 0.5%. So, like I said, you did better than I did. Now, this one I'm talking about was for investment property. So you're doing a owner-occupied, they call them, or they're going to live in it. Okay, so you got a letter from the bank, and the purpose of getting that is so that when you go to make an offer, these days it's so hyper-competitive that realtors or sellers agents, right, or sellers, they won't even touch your offer. They won't let you submit an offer and be serious unless you have a letter. And they're not buying a property with cash, which is what I've been doing lately, and that's sort of next level if you can buy something for cash. Like, if, for example, if you could have gotten out, a couple $100,000 or something like that, that would have been ideal, or access to it, right? But this is, if you can't do that, this is next best, I should say. So then now's the fun time. They get to go shopping, right?
Yeah.
So you're setting up a Zillow search.
Yes, got that done.
Okay. Or Redfin. And what I encourage people to do is get focused. Figure out, what's your game plan, what's your, and you guys want to do single families.
Correct.
Okay.
That's ideal.
And also a duplex, triplex, or quadplex. As long as you're going to live in any of those 4 types, you can get this loan, owner-occupied loan with super low 5% down. Is that what it is? Okay. All right, so they're going to shop. So they're going to set up a Zillow search. I recommend people to get kind of focused. I like to focus on school zones. You can literally draw a little circle on Zillow on your phone, target some subdivisions that you like, some starter homes if you like those or whatever it is. So you can have multiple searches within Zillow and you'll get a feed regularly. And look at that and you'll get to know the market. You'll see these houses when they sell and how much they sold for. And that'll teach you what the market's doing. It's like the perfect time of the year to buy because, now in the end of the year or even through the end of January, people are, there's holidays, kids are in school. And so it's the best time, so that's on your side. I was looking at a graph recently and it shows how houses are selling for premium or more than asking. That's almost down to about flat or selling at asking, okay? So we haven't seen it there in a year and a half or something. So what are you guys looking for in your Zillow search? What are you thinking, what are some of your criteria?
Yeah, so we're looking at those school zones like you've recommended. That's basically the only reason I wouldn't have known to look at that if it wasn't for you. So we're looking at that and those school scores on Zillow specifically. That makes it really easy. And then looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. That'll be sneaky and make it a 1.5 bathroom and say it's a 2, so you gotta watch for that.
Yes.
And then pretty average size, like between 1,100 and 1,800 square feet about.
Good.
On it.
Good. And I encourage people to get the small 3 or 4 bedrooms because you have to pay for all the square footage, but when you rent it, you don't get as much rent for it relative to the size of it. So what Kurtisha was saying was on Zillow, a lot of times it'll just say 2 bedrooms. And if you do look in the fine print of it, a lot of times there you'll see that it's really only 1. I really stress getting 2 full bathrooms and 3 bedrooms minimum. If you get smaller than that, you've got problems. If not a 4th bedroom, a space where someone could have an office with all this home office stuff going on in COVID. So one other thing we talked about this, you mentioned you went and saw one and it had like a weird layout.
Yes, it was definitely like an older house and lots of walls and closets in weird places and you walk through things. It just didn't make much sense for today's what's desirable.
Look out for that weird, okay? So if it's weird to you, it's gonna be weird to other people. Renters will put up with more, but then when you go to sell it eventually, you're gonna have a harder time selling it. Some of the things also that I've learned through stupid tax, as Dave Ramsey calls it, right? Houses on a busy road, steep driveways. A lot of times too, we live in a hilly part of the country, and so you'll see a steep slope next to the back of the house. It's gonna get water under that foundation, I promise you.
And like you said, a lot of renters will put up with things. I was renting when I was in grad school, and sure, I stayed there for 3 years while I was just in grad school, but you pointed out that it's better, you're gonna have less cost if you do more long-term renters. So getting those more desirable places, while with the less desirable things, you may fill it with people. You will probably have a lot of turnover. People that'll put up with it for a year or 2 years and then want to get out really quickly.
Absolutely, great point. When I buy things, I'll put in a medicine cabinet so they have more storage. I'll put in a little cabinet over the toilet so they have more storage. I'll put hooks behind the bathroom doors in all the bedrooms to make it very livable.
Yeah.
And so functional. So I always have a dishwasher or add one. And even in the old house, it won't have a microwave hood over the stove. And so I'll get my guy to trim out the cabinets and put one up there. It's, very livable, right? You put all 4 appliances in that kitchen and the tenants will be like, yes, and curb appeal when you drive up to it, right? All right, so they're going to be looking at properties. You guys are actually looking at one today, right? Tell us about that.
So a couple of the ones have the really good prioritized school zones. So we're really interested in those, and they don't require a lot of work, which is also what we're looking for right now. We don't want a huge project at the moment. We'd be willing to do a little bit of paint, some light stuff, but for the most part, we want to really minimum work up front for this first house that we get, or the second technically. And then the other one is just off the market. It's actually in the house next door to us right now, so we're gonna go check it out, look at the inside. We've been watching it get redone recently, and so we're just gonna go check it out and see what it's like.
Cool. And you guys both work full time. Okay. Let me ask you about that in a second. Why real estate? Why invest in real estate while working a full-time job? What interests you about doing that?
Ultimately financial freedom, right? I'd love to be in a position where I don't have to have a full-time job. And, people always need a place to live. People say that all the time, but real estate has proven to be a really great investment. You can get just the passive income from having renters, right? But also the appreciation of the property is fantastic as well. So there's really a multiple, stage of why it's beneficial and really attractive to me.
Awesome.
Yeah. I agree with all of those things. Financial freedom is huge. That time freedom eventually one day would be awesome. I also just think it's really fun. I love going and looking at houses and
Cool.
seeing the different design aspects and talking to people. I don't know. I just enjoy that side of things too.
That's a bonus if you love it. Like I actually love it,
Yeah.
and it's not work to me. With you guys as like a team where you're both in it, that's a blessing. You know, a lot of times one will be into it and the other won't, and that can be a big challenge. And so lots of things going for you guys. You know, maybe one of you are better at picking out colors and one of you is better at doing spreadsheets or doing the homework on the loans. I know Connor picks that up, right? So like, you know, none of us are good at everything, right? I know I'm not. And so having a teammate that's interested, that's in the game with you, just makes you stronger. So I'm excited. So I've been bugging these guys in our exercise class we do together about this. And what's your update this week?
Yes.
And you guys have been doing a fantastic job of taking action, even though you're busy in your lives.
Yeah.
And so we'll continue to do some updates on the channel, hopefully, about, you know, their first purchase and that sort of thing. So thanks for being on the channel, and we can't wait to see what you guys choose.
Yay, thank
All right.
you.
It would help the channel a lot if you would smash the like button, and don't forget to put a comment that says AirPods to be registered to win a pair of Apple AirPod Pros that Lily's giving away to one of our first subscribers. Hurry up and do that because we're about to hit 1,000 subscribers. You can also go back to all the previous videos and just add a comment, AirPods, and you'll get registered, another chance to win as well. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next week.